Hey there, it's David Cinelli here, Realtor with Royal LePage Signature, with another Real Estate Educational Friday. Today's topic, we are going to shed some light on the deposit in a real estate transaction here in Ontario. When purchasing a property here in Ontario, after an agreement has been reached between both the buyer and the seller, the buyer needs to give a deposit in order to either firm up or bind the agreement. An agreement without a deposit is worthless. What the deposit does is it gives the seller a security in good faith that the buyer has some financial stake in this agreement. How much of the deposit and where it is held depends on where the sale is taking place. For example, here in Toronto, we require about a 5% deposit of the overall sale. And that amount needs to be liquid and it needs to be deposited to the selling agent within 24 hours once an agreement has been met. And yes, this amount needs to be in some sort of guaranteed funds. It could be either a wire transfer, a money order, bank draft, certified check, etc. But in some form or another, it does need to be in guaranteed funds. Once the funds are deposited into the listing brokerage, they are then kept in the brokerage's trust account. Some people mistakenly believe that this deposit automatically goes into the seller's bank account. This is not true. Once the deposit is in the listing brokerage's trust account, the agreement is now binding and it will remain there until one of two things occur. In the first case, if the agreement was a conditional sale, which means that the buyer had some sort of conditions in that sale which they needed to be satisfied before moving forward and making the deal firm, if the buyer is not satisfied with any of those conditions, they can choose to cancel the agreement by a mutual release, and the buyer will get back their deposit in full without deductions, and both parties will move on. The second scenario is if the deal was conditional and is now firm, which means the conditions are met, or the deal had no conditions at all. This is what we call a firm agreement. At this point, the deposit will remain in the trust account until closing date, and that deposit then becomes part of the buyer's down payment. However, there is a scenario which may be a little tricky, and it doesn't happen very often. This is when a buyer has firmed up a deal, and when it comes to closing, they are not able to close the deal, which means they are not able to purchase the property as they agreed to in the agreement. If this occurs and there's no way for the buyer to close on the property, the deposit does not automatically go to the seller. What happens is that it remains in the trust account until the governing bodies decide what to do with it. The buyer, however, will also not receive their money back. Many times, the deposit will be used to pay retribution to both the seller, the representatives, and the lawyers. And this will cause a lot of litigation and lawsuits. Therefore, the deposit will be tied up probably for many years before either party could access it. And in the meantime, the home most likely will have to be put back on the market and hopefully sell it to another potential buyer. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Real Estate Educational Friday. If there's a topic you wish for me to discuss on this forum, please feel free to reach out. You can always call or text me at 416-876-9998 or email me at dcinelli@royallepage.ca. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.